going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. It's been a while since I uploaded, so I figured I'd show off some new additions to the collection, highlight some great people in the community. So, let's jump into it. There's some LCS love. Panther Comics, Stormwatch Comics, Frankenstein, the comic book store, Station in Glassboro, all great stores. There's even more, honestly, in the area that I've, hit up in the last, couple months. Always a great time. I love those guys. And I picked up some good stuff. Some minor stuff, Marvel Premiere 1, Uncanny X-Men 61, some Aquaman and Thor run fillers, but still good stuff. I've ordered over 25 copies of every Mandalorian issue so far through my main LCS, where I work, Panther Comics. And I've been snagging the 1 in 50s as they come out, but that might make its own video once issue 8 comes out and it's done, because I've got an interesting philosophy over that. But I also snagged a San Diego Comic-Con #1, which was really, really neat. I gotta find the black and white, though. But through these stores, I finished my Godzilla run as well through Marvel. All I'm missing is the 25-cent price variant. I believe it's 25-cent price variant for #2. So that's a book I'm on the hunt for. But Connor's Comics on the road. Did a little traveling the last couple months. Not much. Flew out to Colorado for the Avalanche Parade. And within the 24 hours I spent there, hit up some comic shops. I mean, are you really shocked? 5280 Comics was a great small shop, had a good selection, some early Silver Keys, some modern era stuff, new books for the week, all kinds of stuff. I picked up a few small keys, but nothing crazy. And then I went to the Gnarly Toy Box, which was a cool little toy shop. Nothing too crazy, but very nice people behind the counter. And I found some of these little Ultraman figures in a common variety you don't see too often, so that was very cool. All Seas Collectables was a cool shop. They had no room on their pricing, so I only grabbed a few things. Some dollar books, a few wall books underpriced, but nothing crazy. And then Visionaries was an awesome comic shop. Definitely one I want to return to when I go back to Colorado in October, if possible. They had a huge amount of boxes out for sale, and they used an overshoot price guide, which is a plus for me. Not that I'm reselling anything I really bought, but it's always a plus when they do that. They had some great figures out there, too. And, surprisingly, which I thought was a little random, Vernon Wells from Mad Max was there doing a signing. I didn't cop anything other than a humbling lesson at his table. We can leave it at that. Being on the road led to some shows. Only a few, though, but always at shows. On the 4th of July, it's always a great time at Frankenstein Comics annual sale. Some great vendor friends of mine set out outside. And I walked away with probably a little over a long box of good stuff. I mean, Journey and Mystery Keys, First Jaime Reyes, a lot of the stuff that you see flipping by in the video today. I used to snag an omnibus for $20. I mean, still sealed. You can't beat that. And a Big Hero 6, #1, for their first appearance with Sunfire. So anybody needs that one, it's not really a book that fits my collection. So if you're looking for it, hit me up on Instagram, and might be selling it. But even before the show was It's a Toy Show, which is a show I've been going to for years and years. Always a great time, hosted by the Farpoint crew and Frank. I actually vended this time. Made a little bit of money, had a good time. Didn't buy a whole lot, but it's still a good time. And this past weekend, I went to Nerd Fest. That was always a good show. Definitely had a good time there. It's always good seeing old friends, meeting new ones. I got to meet the creator of The Convictor, which is a great independent comic coming out right now. I'll link him in the description. Go check him out. Give him a follow. Maybe cop issue 1 or 2. Pretty good stuff. And I got a chance to meet the helicopter zombie himself, Jim Kurt, from Dawn of the Dead, which was a complete pleasure. After taking a chance talking to him, I learned a lot that impacted my upcoming projects that I'm working on my own horror movie. So, and all the filmmaking, behind the scenes stuff. He told me a lot of stuff that I wasn't even thinking about asking. So it was totally a pleasure meeting him. And he was totally a highlight for the show for me. Sadly, these awesome shirts didn't have any left in my size. Although I definitely would have grabbed one otherwise. Let's get into some dollar bin digging. This time around, let's look at this book I didn't know existed. It's kind of funny. Teen Titans Special #1 is a book I've talked about in the last couple of videos here. I didn't know there's a second printing with a red background. Who knew? This Faust 1 and the Tales of Terror, which is too cool to pass on. And this first Shatterstar is a great book you still find out there in the dollar bin. Overall, though, some good stuff. Always hunting the dollar bins. You never know what you're going to find. And that's just a few of the probably 3 or 4 long boxes I bought in the last 2 months out of just the dollar bin alone. There's always good stuff. There's always good deals, building boxes and such. I had a lot of online purchases recently. Not too many, but this Kazar book, I'll go out and say it. Again, I keep on saying it. This is a book that everybody should be hunting. It's cheap. It's easy to find. I've got a couple copies myself, and I think it's a book that's going to explode very, very soon. Keep an eye out for that one. On the second print of Santa Staros, that's another cheap grower, honestly. I mean, it just keeps on going up little by little. Morph Presents 1 is a book that I feel like time kind of is running out on. You know, we've seen the synopsis for Werewolf by Night. We know they're in Ulysses Bloodstone's manor. It seems that he's going to be dead for the duration of the series, but it's also first appearance of the Blood Gem, not only Ulysses. And he's a big part of the plot there, especially considering they're chasing the Blood Gem with his daughter, Elsa. So that's definitely a good book to keep an eye on if you can still find him for cheap. And number 2 is his Origin, and I believe Origin to the Blood Gem as well, if I'm not mistaken. Avengers Academy has also been trademarked for MCU use. So, possible post-Secret Wars project. It's a good book to keep an eye out on if you find it for cheap. Find it at the dollar bin, maybe you find it for $2-3 online. Maybe you want to grab it. And of course, why not on Whatnot? Grabbed a couple of great books off of Erod recently. Snagged an amazing Neil Adams Batman key also. Second Man-Bat, but his first appearance of his wife, which is really, really cool, underrated Neil Adams cover. Honestly, Whatnot is the place to be these days. I'll put a couple of Whatnot sellers that I know personally give out great deals, good people. I'll put them down in the description because you want to give them a follow. You're gonna thank me later. And before we get into the keys, I got 2 more categories for you. Keep it at video. Keep it on video. DVDs and VHS collections are crazy these days. I mean, I can't pay what some VHSs go for because I'm a big horror fan. I love being a part of the horror community, and some things just go crazy. But when I catch them for cheap or I catch awesome ones, I'll just grab them anyway just because I love it. And, you know, I'm always hunting horror movies in physical mediums. You know, say there's a couple of recent picks. Nothing too crazy, but too cool not to share nonetheless. And, of course, action figure chaos. I've been pulling it back on a lot of action figures buys recently. I'm mostly doing kaiju and Star Wars stuff. Although no new Star Wars stuff the last 2 months, which is interesting. I just have too much of it. This SH Monster Arts Final Wars Goji is my favorite recent pickups in the last year and change. Honestly, this thing's amazing. The sculpting on it, the tooling, it's a really nice piece. I can't wait to get my hands on the Gigan. That's a figure I've been hunting for a while. I'm just trying to find one in person instead of jump online for it. But it's just a cool piece, you know. Even the box is stellar. And putting it out on the shelf with my other Godzilla pieces, he really does stand out. Definitely a piece I'm glad I picked up. And the Canadian GVK figures finally made their way to one of my LCSs. This was a must-buy for me. I mean, it's just too cool not to. In Colorado, I also found a super rare carded Godzilla Force figure still sealed. Pretty neat. And it was, honestly, it was Force Steel. I mean, you can see the price on it, and they had a sale going on. So, for what, I think I paid $10, $12 after the sale. I mean, you can't beat that. You never see these things. Everything from Ultraman, Gamera, a huge Godzilla bank, Spectre-Man cards, Dr. Gory, this crazy VHS, and even the second Dark Horse print set with great Mike Mignola piece right on the front there, and other stellar artwork from legends in the industry. I mean, I'm always buying something kaiju. I love it. I really do. But definitely stacked kaiju stuff. But Thor figures kind of had a little boom for me. I've been pulling back on Marvel Legends and a lot of DC figures recently, but I've got a little soft spot in my heart for Thor. I mean, I'm doing the full Thor run, and I'm almost done. So I got a little small Thor diorama set down there. And I picked up some McFarlane recent drops because, you know, spice it up a little bit, and they're kind of neat. I want to find some of the superpowers. I've seen them at my Walmart, but I haven't grabbed any yet. But some of them, they look pretty nice. And what we're all waiting for, the keys. Mando 1 and 50s aside, a full run of Secret Wars landed in my lap with multiple Mike Zeck signatures, including the 8. Very, very cool set. There's also Blue Galactus #1, which is another video in itself. Red Wolf, Whirlwind, Black Lightning, another First Rogue, all new books that add into the collection. And this Dead Man was sadly returned since it came with detached pages, which the seller did not tell me about. It is still a book I'm looking for. It's one of my favorite keys from that era, and I just want to find the right copy. I've seen a bunch of them in person, honestly. Just never been the right price and the right condition for me and what I'm looking for. And I got a really, really cool book that, again, kind of really fell into my lap. Batman 244, which is an amazing Neil Adams cover. I mean, one of my favorites. And somehow it was a double cover. I've never seen a key get a double cover like this. I mean, my only other double cover is the first Zorn, which is like a minor key. But like a book like this, you know, to have a double cover was just too cool to pass on. I had to grab it. I was thrilled to find it. And of course, I got a list of books I'm hunting for. I'm always looking for good deals, and I got all kinds of books I'm hunting for. But I got, you know, what I call a rotating 12. I post it all the time on Instagram and stuff like that. But, you know, 12 big keys I'm looking for. Again, I'm always looking for other stuff, and I kind of narrowed down to these 12 at the time. And I checked one off the list. Vengeance of Bane #1 was just too good of a deal to pass on. You kind of got to do it when it's that cheap, you know? So I was very excited to grab that. It's a high-grade copy. I mean, there's one little nick down at the bottom, but otherwise it's a high grade. It's in the 9s for sure. It might even get slapped. I haven't decided yet. But very cool. And it's not called a rotating 12 for nothing. As one comes in, a General Zod has to replace its spot there. So that'll be one of the next books I'll be hunting for. And who knows, we already have one in the chamber. But before we wrap it up, there's one last segment I'd like to add in. Fallen Soldiers, additions to the collections that were traded or sold and no longer reside in the CCPC. This started off The Boys #1. That book's been going too crazy not to pass online. You know, I've had the copy for a while, but I'm not much into it. So somebody offered me good money for it, and I had to take it. And same thing for my double with First Nightmare. You know, I traded that for the first Rogue there, so which is my second copy of Rogue. So, you know, I feel like it was a good trade. I had a beater copy. And Visionaries, always one of my favorite 80s toy lines, but there's just no more space on the shelf for them. And the room's just so packed as it is. I had to box them up, and I figured my buddy who grew up with the toy line would appreciate them more. So I gave them all to him, including the box for the vehicle, which is really, really cool. Hard to find piece. So rest easy, Visionaries. Rest easy. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this longer video. Just showing off some new additions to the collection, highlighting some great people in the community that we all love. Throw me a follow here on Facebook and Instagram, and keep updated. Join Fandoms Unleashed for an inside scoop on the behind the scenes of Connor's Comics and be part of great discussions. Just posting there every day, up to 5 to 10 times a day. Sometimes it's lulls, but 9 times out of 10 it's a very active group. And all that's in the description is, as always, it's a pleasure, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.